FSU police get an upgrade. We take a closer look at how a tiny lens can have a huge impact.
Plus, one local business owner is living a double life. We visit his office to see how he juggles the two.
And for some, school and sports don't always have to split. Find out how FSU's bowling team is fostering great minds and fast rolls. Thanks for joining us. I'm Blake Brandon.
And I'm Hope Carpinello. Many students going away to college have concerns for their safety, but will universities become more absorbed with protection than learning? Seminole Showcase reporter Gail Levy has the story.
The millennial generation has come into many unpleasant run-ins with guns. Guns that aren't on the streets, but on student campuses.
Personally, I think it takes away from the classroom and why we're here. I don't feel comfortable being surrounded by guns because I don't know that everyone else has the mental state or just proper attitude towards gun using.
It's hard to believe that just 2 years ago, there was a shooting that occurred in front of Strozer Library. The topic of guns on campus hits very close to home to some FSU students. So the question still remains, should guns be allowed on campus?
The student is legally licensed to carry. I think the student should be able to carry on campus. Case in point instance here is the Strozer Library shooting. Let's say a student like myself who has a license and can conceal carry. I could have been on the scene within seconds, defending myself and the rest of the student body minutes before the policemen could have got there and could have saved lives. Now I got the big boy guns.
While Mike may have a license in the big boy guns, officials are still concerned if this law passes.
Wow, the guns on campus law would make our jobs a lot harder. I think it might create the perception that if a person has a gun, they can intervene or they can do something to try to help that situation. I think it would create that question or perception. I can't say having more guns from untrained people on campus would strengthen the security posture of our university or for any university around the country.
For Seminole Showcase, I'm Gail Levy.
Under FSU's current student conduct code, it is unlawful for students to possess or use a firearm on campus.
The problem with this university is that it's full of sin, sin, sin.
That is the voice of Brother Mikhail, a traveling preacher known for speaking outside of the Oglesby Union. Some describe his messages as extreme and hostile. He is allowed on campus according to FSU's Open Platform, a policy that establishes free speech zones on campus where people like Brother Mikhail can have their opinions heard in a public setting. Florida State student government is working on clarifying this policy to avoid confusion among students about their First Amendment right on campus.
FSU PD has implemented new body cameras to document all public encounters. As Seminole Showcase reporter Stephen Pope tells us, officers are embracing the new technology.
Over the years, police departments have created technologies to protect citizens and the police officers, such as dash camera footage, which creates an objective view of an incident. Now, the latest technology is body cameras.
So for us, a body camera is an impartial third party, basically, that watches every interaction between the police and citizens and makes a recording for use later.
I asked Lieutenant Jacobs whether the camera footage was meant to protect the officers wearing the cameras or the public involved in the recording.
For us, both. And to be that third party, that independent view of what really happened. A lot of times we'll say there's always three sides to a story. What one person says happens, what another person says happens, and what really happened.
I think it's a good thing that'll be beneficial for both students and policemen because it'll give credibility to the stories of either one of them in a certain situation.
Lastly, I asked Lieutenant Jacob whether the body cameras could be a solution to any conflicts between the public and the police officers.
I think that having that third party, having that transparency can only help as long as officers are following their policies and following the laws, and as long as citizens are following the laws and being respectful and doing what they're asked, as long as it's a legitimate request.
The Wall Street Journal reports, in cities like Rialto, California, body cameras have decreased the use of force by 60%. For Seminole Showcase, I'm Stephen Pope.
The hope is that body cameras will bring a new standard of safety at FSU and increase protection of all on campus.
Gender-neutral bathrooms have been a part of FSU's campus since 2013, but there are still certain hurdles that members of the trans community have to overcome. Transgender or all-gender bathrooms are easily recognizable and a staple around campus. What isn't so easy to recognize is what pronouns to use for members of the trans community.
A lot of trans people are uncomfortable revealing their identities to a lot of university professors.
Professors and classmates alike can mistake a student for the wrong gender due to not knowing which pronoun to use. And this can be confusing for college students, and that's why some campuses have elected to use the Z pronoun instead of he or she.
Having this implemented would definitely increase trans students' comfort and make the university a more safer and accepting place.
And Z isn't the only pronoun being used for the trans community.
A lot of trans people that I know tend to use they/them pronouns, which is generally more widely considered.
But some students say the switch may have a negative impact for FSU students and staff.
Take the majority of the people who pretty much don't know much about how that community functions, it would make me significantly more confused.
Despite this, both sides agree that some form of education is necessary to get everyone on board, whether it be available on your first day of class.
You could easily implement it in the same way that we implement the preferred name thing.
Or even on your first day on campus.
I feel like it would have to start with orientation.
There has to be a way for all students to feel included, from A all the way to Z. For Seminole Showcase, I'm Blake Brannon. Z pronouns have already been implemented at the University of Tennessee, and a group at Oxford attempted to start a movement, but they were ultimately shut down.
Alpha Phi Omega is a fraternity making some serious philanthropic moves this year, and historian Charlie Andelman leading the way. Charlie, a transgendered male student, has created a campaign called the Binder Project. The Binder Project aims to give binders to transgender students. Binders are tank tops that bind the chest until they can get top surgery. Many transgenders will use tape and bandages that could become a health hazard. Binders help transgenders feel comfortable in their own skin with no worry about safety.
My body feels, for the most part, right.
If you want to learn more about the project or the transgender community, visit Alpha Phi Omega every Monday from 11 to 1:30 between the HCB building and the Union Green.
Diabetes is a disease that attacks your pancreas and stops insulin from traveling into your blood. Only 5% of people who have diabetes have type 1, and one Seminole has been dealing with it for more than 10 years.
I have to put insulin, and I have an insulin pump. His name is Jeff. He's with me all the time.
Stephanie has to inject herself with a needle that allows insulin to travel from her pump into her bloodstream. If her sugar gets too low, she can go in and out of consciousness and needs to have a candy bar handy. But Jeff doesn't only serve as her personal insulin pump.
It helps.
He's like your wingman.
Yeah, it's my wingman, and he's with me. He's with me all the time.
Stephanie keeps a positive outlook on life despite her condition, and she graduated with a bachelor's degree in criminology in the spring of 2017.
Many vegetarian students at FSU are upset over the union's decision to replace a salad restaurant with a steakhouse. Seminole Showcase reporter Alex LeRae tells us more.
Florida State is home to 27 restaurants and dining halls. 9 of those restaurants can be found in the heart of FSU's campus, at the Oglesby Union. Students can enjoy a variety of food from restaurants such as Chili's, Seminole Pies, Subway, and Einstein Brothers and Bagels. Just until recently, Salad Creations was among the restaurants that could be found at the Union. But in the fall of 2016, the Salad Creations was closed down and was replaced with a new establishment, Four Rivers.
Yeah, it's delicious. Every time it's quality barbecue, like what you would want from a barbecue restaurant.
Some students, however, are not as cheery about the addition of the smokehouse on campus. Many vegetarians and vegans who attend FSU feel as though Florida State dining is not looking out for their best interest.
You know, it was kind of a big smack to our face to know that something that we can rely on more often than not was taken over by a steakhouse type of thing.
5% of students at Florida State are vegetarians, and FSU dining officials still haven't released a statement as to why the Salad Creations was closed. I spoke to Four Rivers employee Kaylin Duncan, and she gave me her take on why she thinks the Salad Creations was closed.
We get a lot of business. We always have a line out the door, especially during lunchtime, and I didn't notice that Salad Creations had nearly as much business as we have.
Four Rivers is one of the most successful restaurants in the Union, so it doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. But for now, vegetarians like Andrea will just have to go somewhere else for food options that will satisfy their dietary preferences. For Seminole Showcase, I'm Alexandra LeRae.
Options such as Krishna lunch and Freshens may be appealing to vegetarian students, but some say that hours for these locations are too limited.
It has been 3 years since signs went up around FSU announcing a tobacco-free policy on school grounds. But is it working? According to Amy Magnuson, the Health Promotions Director at FSU's Health and Wellness Center, tobacco use has decreased to 1% among students. But new ways to use tobacco and visitors on campus means FSU still needs to enforce this policy. The tobacco policy bans any type of tobacco from all school grounds, including the FSU main campus, the reservation, and the Panama City campus.
So we just want to remind all members of our community that anybody can remind people about the policy, and it really takes the community enforcement to ensure that everybody complies.
If you or someone you know needs help to stop smoking, contact the Center for Advocacy and Wellness at 850-644-8871.
Speaking another language is always a plus on a resume, and one woman at Florida State is bilingual without opening her mouth. Tiffany Johnson bridges the gap between those who can sometimes only communicate by what they see.
I've been signing pretty much my whole life. I have a cousin who is deaf. I love it. I like being able to have a second language for one. I like being able to provide that communication for people who need it.
Here at FSU, Tiffany has signed for public figures such as Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, FSU's very own Oscar winner Barry Jenkins, and former Vice President nominee Tim Kaine. Located in the Student Disability Resource Center, students don't only pay Tiffany a visit for interpretation, but for counseling as well. Tiffany continues to sign at public events and says she learns something new every day.
College students are free to choose any course of study, but some majors are more likely to attract a specific gender, leaving others feeling like the minority. As Seminole Showcase reporter Aubrey Brown tells us, some women find themselves alone in a world of men.
The construction of a new building requires time, money, and the careful planning of engineers. But in a field full of hard materials and dangerous equipment, some find that putting on that hard hat is no simple task.
I've had someone say, like, we're not going to go with that because you're a girl. And I'm like, I know you're just trying to be funny, but that's not funny.
Civil engineering student Daniela Zeno says the imbalance between men and women has led to some doubts about her abilities.
I would say in most of the groups I've ever been in, I was probably the only girl. And I have had situations where, like, I feel like I'm getting questioned more than the other group members. And I don't know if it's because, I'm a girl, but like sometimes it definitely feels that way.
At the FAMU FSU College of Engineering, female students make up only 25% of the students currently enrolled. For civil engineering student Jenna Ramsey, it's small moments that really make her feel like an outsider.
You would kind of catch the hint that, like, the teacher would look at the guys or something and be like, okay, can you pick this up and, help move it? And it's little things like that, but it's little hints and comments here and there where you're kind of like, okay, I can do that too,
Engineering has traditionally been a male-dominated field, but more and more women are enrolling in engineering courses every day.
I think it'll even out eventually, and who knows, maybe girls will even take over.
For Seminole Showcase, I'm Aubrey Brown.
Less than 20% of engineering students in the United States are female, but the number of women working in engineering has tripled in the last 4 decades.
The Center for Academic Retention and Enhancement, better known as CARE, is a foundation for first-generation low-income students. CARE encourages more than 1,400 students at any given time to remain above a 3.0 GPA. The program has a building specifically for the students' needs, with study rooms, computers, and on-demand access to tutors. These resources have allowed CARE to have an 81% graduation rate, 2% higher than the rest of FSU. CARE also creates events such as CARE Week to remind students that their academic foundation and family is all in one place.
Homelessness is an issue that does not discriminate race, gender, or in one FSU student's case, economical circumstances. Maya Glenn lost her home when Hurricane Katrina hit in 2005, and she wants to help people understand the importance of learning a person's story before categorizing them.
Anyone can be homeless. It does not have to be because of funds or money, means, education. You can be homeless from anything. And a natural disaster like myself, it took away everything instantly.
Maya walks the campus of FSU with a past that isn't frequently discussed. She is a testament that homelessness is a pressing issue everywhere. There are many ways to get around on campus, and biking is one of the most popular.
But some students run into trouble when it comes to locking up and leaving their bikes. Seminole Showcase reporter Troy Wisniewski gives us more on biking security.
Being able to bike from class to class is nice, but leaving your bike chained up in between classes or even overnight may make some students a little nervous.
When I originally came to FSU, I always wanted to leave my bike overnight, but when I heard about bike theft, it kind of deterred me from leaving it on campus.
Florida State student Clayton Haskell has never left his bike on campus overnight, but after he asked an officer some questions, his decisions changed.
The officer I spoke to gave me a few strategies on how to better protect my bike when leaving it overnight.
FSU's campus has bike racks outside of almost every building, but if you are planning on leaving your bike overnight, be sure to pick the best spot.
Anytime that a bike rack is in a well-lit area where there's heavy pedestrian traffic even at nighttime, we also recommend something a little sturdier than the cable lock that you see.
Not only should you follow these steps to ensure your bike is safe overnight, but you should register it with the FSU PD. Once registered, you will be assigned a barcode that contains more information about your bike, like the serial number.
The most important thing that we get off of a bike is the serial number. Typically, people who purchase bicycles don't record their serial number.
This number will allow FSU PD to send your bike's information out nationally in an attempt to locate it.
We are working currently really hard on a couple of different projects to hopefully kind of be the lead nationwide on how to recover bicycles and how to prevent bicycles from being stolen in general, because that's really our ultimate goal.
For Seminole Showcase, I'm Troy Wisniewski.
FSU PD now has more than 8,000 bikes registered in their system.
Want to find a job that pays well and works with your school schedule?
There's an app for that. I looked into what it's like to be a student Uber driver. For Calder Alfano, making money is as simple as turning on your car. Calder is a senior at Florida State, an economics major, lacrosse player, and Uber driver.
I didn't know how to get a different job in Tallahassee, and Ubering, I think I saw a commercial and it was just like, seemed super easy.
Founded in 2009, the Uber app has become a popular form of transportation, especially in a college town like Tallahassee.
I try to get mostly like FSU kids like going out is like when I have the most fun.
Calder says one of the reasons he believes Uber is so successful is because how easy it is to be employed.
One of my friends recommended me, and so I started.
The Uber driver just opens the app and is ready to take you wherever you need to go.
But I've taken like families to go get their groceries, like people who got stuck waiting for a bus that never came, like kids hungry, just want McDonald's, like you see it all.
Driving an Uber X, a car that seats up to 4, Calder takes pride in the rating feature on the app that allows passengers to give feedback and the ride anywhere from 1 to 5 stars.
So 1 star to 5 stars, 5 stars is the best. If your rating gets too low, below like a 4.3, Uber will drop you and you won't be able to drive for a while.
Calder makes sure his car is clean and detailed before heading out on the road. It's one of the few tips he shared on how he gets that 5-star rating.
I always keep a pack of gum in the car, and I always keep an aux cord.
And for anyone who wants to be an Uber driver,
I just say do it. Like it costs $15 to like get your car and everything registered, and you'll make $15 in a half hour, you know, an hour tops. So like it'll pay for itself, and it's pretty fun, and just gives you like an option.
Out of all the Ubers I've taken, Calder is definitely getting 5 stars. For Seminole Showcase, I'm Hope Carpinello. Uber is available in nearly 600 cities in the United States. Film is making a comeback. The SLC merges the old with the new and offers much more than movies.
And there's a new voice in pageantry. See how participants are breaking down the stigma of strutting the stage.
Seminole Showcase entertainment reporter Katie Sartain is standing by with the scoop. Katie?
Thanks, Hope and Blake. The SLC is an on-campus movie theater run almost entirely by FSU students. It's one of 10 theaters in Florida that are still able to screen a movie on its original 35mm format, and it's free to FSU students. Each week they have special events like karaoke night, like open mic nights, and people aren't afraid to sing, dance, and tell jokes. The SLC is a home for many, so if you ever want to catch a movie, play a game, or hang out with friends, check out this campus treasure. Dance Marathon at FSU is the largest student-run philanthropy on campus. It brings students from all walks of life together to raise money and awareness for the kids. Every spring semester, nearly 2,000 students pack the Civic Center to stand and dance for those who can't. Dance Marathon at FSU benefits the Children's Miracle Network hospitals and the FSU College of Medicine Pediatric Outreach Program. This year, Dance Marathon at FSU raised over $1.8 million for the kids. For FSU student Natalie Nolan, this is more than just a fun event.
Extremely blessed, but I've had 3 open heart surgeries, and they have been funded by the research, the medical technology, and they've actually been at Shands, which is all benefited from Dance Marathon.
Natalie lives a happy and healthy lifestyle thanks to the efforts of Dance Marathon. For more information on how to get involved, visit www.dmfsu.org. There are plenty of fun things to do on campus, but as Seminole Showcase reporter Alexis Anderson tells us, food and fun can be found just a few steps away.
Railroad Square Art Park here in Tallahassee, Florida is a hidden gem located between FAMU and FSU. Hosting more than 50 studios, galleries, and stores, this has certainly become a spot for gathering in the community.
For me, Railroad Square is one of the best communities in Tallahassee that brings together artists, musicians, local people in different programs, and it's just a place for us all to come together and to enjoy each other's company, enjoy each other's art, and just be us.
I think it's a cool place to come to. They have all kind of curious, odd, different little places. It's like discovering, and you never know what you might find there. And I think it's just a lot of fun to go. And on first Fridays, that's my favorite time to come because you see all kind of people, students, older people, people dressed all different ways. So there's just a lot of variety down here, and to me it's one of the things that makes Tallahassee special.
In Railroad Square, which is an amazing community. It's the art park, it's the art district of our town, the capital of Florida, and we are just loving it here. We vibe our tribe, and we love people and community, and we come together just to build a better community and more awareness for each other.
Railroad Square Art Park was established in 1981 and offers a variety of things to do, from indoor rock climbing to the old school pinball arcade. If you're thirsty, you can walk on over to Proof Brewing Company, where they have a tasting room and outdoor patio. The park has events regularly and suggests following them on Facebook for more information. For Seminole Showcase, I'm Alexis Anderson.
To find out more about Railroad Square Art Park or First Friday events, check out their Facebook page for upcoming activities. One student at FSU has the skills to manage 2 businesses, and they're right next door to each other. Robert Sutton opened the smartphone repair shop Mobile Medic during his junior year at FSU, and he did it almost completely on his own. His business has been successful due to its proximity to campus and its affordable prices. But that's not enough for Robert. He also works at Growler USA, Tallahassee's newest microbrewery, where he runs all of the marketing efforts in hopes of creating a successful neighbor.
I do a lot of their social media marketing, a lot of different things, promotions and deals for them, just try to drive more traffic in.
At just 22 years old, Robert manages his own business while helping another. Under all of the glitz and glam, some Florida State University students are challenging the status quo surrounding beauty pageants. You might even recognize one of them. For some, pageantry is more than a hobby, it's a way of life. And many, including me, believe that pageants are much deeper than what they seem.
America actually isn't a beauty pageant, it's a scholarship pageant. So a lot of the way that I pay for school is through the scholarships that I earn through pageantry, which is really cool because it's not all about just being a pretty face.
Students interested in scholarship pageants are encouraged to search for their local Miss America division and apply to join locally. You never know, you may catch a pageant bug of your very own. Blake, Hope, back to you.
You know, it's amazing. We have our very own Miss Orlando in the studio with us today.
We can't wait to see what she does next. Thanks, Katie. It takes more than a team to win a championship. We go behind the scenes of FSU volleyball to see who really runs the show.
And they may not be on the field, but they play a big role in every game. We sit in the stands with FSU baseball's most legendary cheering squad. Seminole Showcase reporter Troy Wisniewski has your sports report.
Striking up the lanes is what they do. The men and women's bowling teams are a semi-competitive club sport here at Florida State. The bowling team focuses on improving their skill and working together to have fun and compete against top colleges around the nation. Bowling coach Mike Fine says although they're competitive, this program exists for students to create and complete specific goals. The goal this year, make it to nationals. Although the team fell short last year, sophomore Rachel DeVilliers competed in singles and qualified for the national tournament. She heads to Louisiana to try and claim the gold. So good luck to her. If you're interested in joining the bowling team, stop by Crenshaw Lanes and ask for Coach Fine. When you hear the word animals, you probably think of animals at the zoo. But for Florida State baseball fans, this is not the case. Seminole Showcase reporter Allison Lewis tells us all about the animals of Section B.
The Animals of Section B are an important group of baseball fans dating all the way back to 1977. Built on tradition and pride, they are the main source of positive energy and fun during Florida State baseball games at Dick Howser Stadium.
The Animals are here to support FSU baseball in a way that's respectful to everybody involved, but first we're just baseball fans that love Florida State.
The Animals created their own section in Dick Howser in between Sections 4 and 5. Section B consists of anyone who has a deep passion for baseball and could be any age, some even starting as little kids. There are many traditions in the game of baseball, and the Animals of Section B have many of their own that they uphold in every FSU game. The Animals' most popular tradition is singing "O Canada" when FSU bats in the 5th inning. Other traditions include pretending to be ducks on the pond when FSU loads the bases, and holding up cutouts of the baseball players when they come up to bat. There is no doubt that the Florida State baseball team knows they can look up to the stands to a filled Section B cheering them on.
Way to go! Double deuce!
You can always count on the Animals of Section B to liven up the atmosphere at every FSU baseball game. The Animals are well known not only by the baseball team, but also by many fans, including Florida State student Victoria Volante.
When I came in as a freshman, the Animals welcomed me to the Seminole tribe and made me feel like I was at home.
From the first pitch of the game to the end of either a win or a loss, the Animals of Section B are there for it all. For Seminole Showcase, I'm Allison Lewis.
To learn more about the Animals of Section B, you can join their Facebook group or follow them on Twitter at Section B Animals. Or the easiest way to get to know the Animals is to sit in Section B yourself. History was made at Florida State this year. For the very first time, the softball team entered the season as the #1 ranked team in the nation. After a disappointing end to last year, losing in the semifinals of the College World Series, the Seminoles are en route to winning it all this season. However, it's not all about winning for the Lady Noles. It's about having fun on the field and becoming closer as a team. On the field, the Seminoles are nearly unbeatable. And off the field, this team's family bond is unbreakable. The Florida State volleyball team carries a small roster, but there are 3 additional members that assist the team year-round without getting any recognition. Those are the student managers. The 3 managers are vital to the volleyball program because the staff is so small. The managers set up the gym for practices, participate in drills, keep stats, and have to be ready to go at all times in case they are needed for a scrimmage. And even though they may not get the credit they think they deserve, the managers still feel important and a part of the team.
Yeah, I think they like having me around. It's good competition for them, and I try to keep it fun. It's like I'm not a coach, so they don't have to be so scared. I think we lighten up the practice pretty well.
They have been a part of the Florida State program for the past 8 years and continue to be replaced upon graduation. Since their addition to the team, the program has reached the NCAA tournament every year. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Troy. From the team to the fans to the managers, FSU sports are really more than just the games being played.
Did you know that FSU even has an equestrian team? Now those horses are talented, but Seminole Showcase reporter Brianna Bruner tells us more about a horse whose talents don't include the steeplechase.
Meet Rune, an 11-year-old Mustang with a rock star personality and a passion for painting.
It actually started from the pickup. So the idea that he likes to hold things really kind of moved to wanting to be able to hold brushes.
Rune was found in the Rocky Hills of Nevada. He's a part of a larger herd protected by the Bureau of Land Management. Mustangs like Rune have the chance to be adopted by individuals like Teresa. In fact, the proceeds from his paintings are donated to the BLM's Wild Horse and Bureau program.
Well, Mustangs, I think, are tremendous horses, and they're all, well, at least the ones that I have met, are really, really smart.
But his talents don't end with painting. He can perform up to 40 other tricks. And recently, Teresa has teamed up with the local Mustang expert
to explore his abilities.
When Teresa came originally, we worked on the foundation of Rune and developing the initial understanding of tricks, the initial understanding of who this horse was and how he ticked and what we could do to help this horse bloom.
As Teresa and Marcia continued to work together, they found a trait in Rune that horses rarely have: the ability to see color.
We just started working with red, and I was trying to think of ways that people could see that he could identify red against other colors. So we used white. Within maybe 1 or 2 sessions of working with him, he could see the difference between the blue and the white, and then I would mix the blue, the red, and the white, and then call the colors.
The two continue to grow closer every day. Teresa is currently working on getting Rune into the Guinness Book of World Records for the world's smartest horse. For Seminole Showcase, I'm Brianna Bruner. I'm surprised that horse can't talk.
That horse can paint better than I do on any given day.
That's going to do it for this edition of Seminole Showcase. From the entire crew, thanks for joining us.